Along with my co-host Ajane, welcome our honorable speaker and guest, respected HOD sir, and everyone to another insightful and much awaited session of INSEES Invictus.
With the online classes hampering much of our practical grasp over our core subjects, our webinar letting us explore the electronics domain in a much interesting way was the need of the hour. Having said that, without any further hesitancy, let us start today's session, and the theme of the session is venturing into the electronics industry.
So without further ado, let's introduce our respected speaker, Mr. Mallela Chandrasekhar sir. And having him with us here today is indeed a great deal of honor for the entire EI family. He is an alumnus of IIT Madras, a person who never fails to seize new opportunities and keeps the learning spirit in himself alive.
He is currently associated with the Intel Corporation and is having an industrial experience of 22 years in the field of computer networks, ASIC, VLSI architecture, microarchitecture, design, verification and validation planning, and technical accountability, adhoc verification and validation. Pursuing his interests enthusiastically, he has issued 3 patents with 2 win pending and has published 13 publications which includes 2 IEEE publications. And all of these are just a few out of the many accolades conferred to him.
INSEES acknowledges your presence, for it is indeed a pleasure to host you. We shall be beginning our webinar very shortly, but before that, I would like to request a respected HOD Mr. Manas Bera sir to kindly address the crowd and also request him to welcome our guest and begin today's session with his wise and witty words.
Thank you, and good morning to all of you, and good morning to Mr. Chandrasekhar. And I, in behalf of the entire fraternity of NIT Silchar, as well as from the Department of Electronics and Instrumentation Engineering, and the student fraternity also, I'm welcoming you for this wonderful talk. And I'm very delighted that the students through INSEES, they have taken such kind of initiatives such that the students directly can interact the learned person like Mr. Chandrasekhar, because he having huge industrial experience, and we hope that students will be benefited out of that. And this platform is not only for the interaction. I hope that this is a beginning. We can extend this relation further, like the students, if they have whether the internship opportunities are there or not, they can explore that one, and also the relation can be extended to the placement activities also. So with that hope, also he can enlighten us that what are the opportunities are there in this electronic industries where currently he is associated with it. So with that hope, I think I will not much extend. We will hearty welcome to Mr. Chandrasekhar. Sir, the platform is for you. Okay, thank you.
Thank you, sir. Thank you all. Yeah, I have heard all the hyperboles. Thank you for that. But there's nobody here. Let me start sharing the slides straight away so that we get into the business. Okay. So this is slide set that I have prepared. Are you able to see the presentation?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Yeah, thank you. Yeah, the objective that's given to me is, to discuss the careers. But then I thought deep about it. I have included all the data, but pretty much it's kind of known wisdom. So I might add value in terms of, building a career, in terms of, the knowledge and then the personality and things of that kind. So that's where my presentation most of the time focuses. And then the last about 12 slides will focus on what you need. I mean, that's a practical stuff. So yeah, we get there too. But in these 22 and a half years, what I have learned, too many mistakes, as well as, yeah, many reasonable hits, as I call. It's something that I would love to share with all of you. Because you're just getting there, you should know as to how to prepare for a successful career. Obviously, it applies to electronic industry because I'm there, uh, but then uh, it's probably a bit generic too. So that's where I'm not really sure how much of it is really as per the objective set to me by the student body. But allow me to deviate a bit on this. Okay, I had this IP design group, but then nothing like heading. I'm merely a representative of my team of 20 members. We work on these NIC products, smart network interface cards. They're nothing but, in fact, every laptop has got a NIC. It interfaces the outside networking world to the host via PCI Express protocol. So essentially, our NICs, in a very simplistic way, have got Ethernet on one end and the PCI Express on the other end. Yeah, you might not get it. Let's leave it there. And I think you have the lifetime before you to get there, so it's fine. Okay, and in the presentation, I have used many GIFs to make it interesting, and all of them are taken from internet. I have not created any. It's not required. It's always reusing the existing knowledge is very, very important to save the time and effort. And only if it's necessary, we have to create. That's how we save our time and effort in the industry. Okay, so first thing first, I would like to thank all the teachers at any point of time. They really bear, the brunt of our. I'm including myself too. The most erratic yet the most energetic phase. Still, they do their best. So kudos to all the teachers at any point of time. Um, so there may be some questions as to why you need to listen to me. There is no particular reason, sometimes we always would like to hear the best of the best of the best. No, I'm not there yet. That's not the point, actually. So let's share our experiences and then, feel good about various things. That's a key, actually. That's a brief profile. Here, it's mostly techno managerial experience. I love to be part of the products, so that's a key reason. That's a key reason why I interact with all these tech leads who deliver goods. I myself have taken up this managerial role after my role of designer, a micro architect, and the architect. So pretty much, I feel that I have the bigger vision now. And when you get the bigger vision, then you need to lead the teams too. So that's where I have taken this up. And I also prefer to multiplex the technical career as well as this managerial career. Because sometimes just the talk is not really good. You need to go there, act, deliver. So that's where I like to be a participatory manager, not really just the talk. That somehow doesn't click with me. So that's how it is. Yeah, that's pretty much on it. Some numbers I had to change because they're the latest numbers. That's what I have talked in brief. Okay, before we even think of the careers, right, there are a few things that we need to ask ourselves. What do I like? You need to ask yourself. In the industry, we need all kinds of people. The people who are really, into creating systems. They just take the English part and then they visualize the complete system. That's part of the hardware here, a part of the software here, and then they interconnect everything with the firmware. It's really great. So that role is in architect role. And then somebody else takes that architecture and then fills up the blocks. Okay, I need to have this processor here. I need to have this particular application here. Okay, Linux OS is better. No, Windows OS is better. So that's where the micro architect comes into play. And then somebody has to realize the system. Not every time you have the components ready. So somebody has to design the hardware component. Somebody has to design the software application, right? So that's where the designer comes. Then, yeah, you have design, but then you can't verify because you feel it's all good over there. Somebody else has to understand what you have designed and then verify it. That's the reason why, the conflict of the ideas in a constructive way is always very productive. So that's the whole intent, actually. Then we bring the verifier. So that person comes and then verifies whatever you have designed. Both of them, the designer and the verifier, independently talk to the architect and the micro architect to understand various scenarios, be it design or verification. Okay, and then the validator comes. What does he do? Whatever you do till verification stage is all in terms of the code. You really don't have the physical system there. The validator creates the physical system, and then he's a guy who is the closest, or he's our first customer, if at all that us uh, is one of architect, micro architect, designer, and verifier. So he literally deals with our entire realization and then ensures that, okay, that's working in the real life. It's not just about simulation, right? You need to get everything to the board and then it should be working. So that's what it is. Then how does the growth look like? I have given one way of growth. Is it the only way? No, there are many ways. But in my case, I have moved from the design to the microarchitecture to the architect, and then I have facilitated my team members to go from verifier or the validator to the microarchitecture or to the architecture. And this microarchitecture itself has got the verification component or the validation component. Yeah. So that's how it is. Essentially, you need to keep asking one question. Okay, what do I like? That's the key. And there's no fancy stuff. There's nothing like the architect is paid more than the validator, or the designer gets paid more than no. All are paid relatively equal, and there is uh, no additional respect to one particular designation as compared to the rest of the designation. So don't even get there. It's all about what you really love to do. And if you ask me, the openings are tons in verification and validation as opposed to the architecture, microarchitecture, and design openings. So that's one thing you may want to consider. Yeah, you may want to start off as a verification engineer because it's easier, or a validation engineer, it's easier. And then on a suitable opportunity, move to the design if at all you want to explore that. But then all paths lead to Rome. It's the same. So whatever you feel like, so ultimately you get. So not a big deal at all. And then at least from the electronics perspective, the chip perspective, I have given a quick list of tools for a designer. Architect, micro-architect deal with the English part and the realization part. Whereas the designer deals with Verilog, system Verilog mostly. VHDL of late, yeah, nobody is using. That's how it is. Only a few European companies use. Otherwise, yeah, I see none. But it's a good academic language to get started with. Yeah, if you know VHDL or system Verilog slash Verilog, they're almost the same. It's always block here. That's the process statement over there. Yeah, pretty much the same. It's all about your understanding of the hardware logic in terms of the NAND gates, multiplexers, and things of that kind, flops. Then when it comes to verification, it has become really complex. I did a few mistakes early on in the career, thinking that your design was good because I started off as a designer. But then I realized the complexity was really huge. Uh, that time itself. Now the typical ratio is for every one designer, we have 3 to 5 verification engineers. That's a lot of ratio actually. So for our 20 design team members, we have anywhere close to 60 to 80. I don't know the exact number because we work with the contractors too. It's not that easy to scale up, so that's where the chances are. Uh, we had the opportunities are tons actually. And then validation, one who gets onto the board, turns on the power, sees whether the packets are actually flowing, sees whether the Ethernet link is really up. He looks at the LED and says, this is working. And then the LED glows in some other way. He says, hey, your link is not working. Then again, I need to go back to the drawing board as to why that link is not working despite everything done. Possibly I might not have configured a few things properly. The first step, and then slowly debugging, things of that kind. So you got to ask yourself, what do I like? Pretty simple. If you cannot answer this, then pick up the one that's offered to you. That's okay. Yeah, that's fine. And then slowly figure out, what really works. We'll talk about it. Then how am I? That's another question you need to ask yourself. What's my general approach? Not all of us are chameleons, who can wear different hats at different times. Uh, that's not what we do. Some of us are really concrete, thanks to our personalities. In the sense, pretty much, deterministic in some behavior. Some are really methodical, they just look at the constraints. Okay, these is a set of constraints I need to deal with, and then I go and work towards it. So very structured. Such people are better off typically, taking up the careers of architect, micro architect, and design, because you have tons of constraints. You need to really deal with all the constraints to come up with the most optimal design that really works, that makes the customer happy. Okay, and then some are really wacky. They like to just tamper with the code, look how it works, and then a design comes. They look at it suspiciously. I mean, everybody designs. Let's see whether it works. Good. Then you are into verification. I mean, uh, the coding skills of verification are really amazing, actually. As part of design, I always used 10 to 15%. 15% is the highest I could code. I know that's the language. That's the language I had used. I had never gone beyond that 15% at all. But verifier hits limits of coding, the system Verilog coding, the UVM. It's really loads of software out there. So if somebody likes to code and then experiment by tinkering with the code, yeah, you need to go there. That's really great. You're completely back. You like to break the systems apart. Yeah, it's good. It's really great. Okay, so yeah, though currently I'm handling the design team. Before this, uh, I had handled a team that ran across the design, the verification, and the validation. That had really cut across the spectrum. And that's where, and again, I believe in participatory management. A few times, we could not hire, so I took up, a bit of verification. I took up, the validation planning. So yeah, that's what I call ad hoc verification and validation. Sometimes you get the opportunity because there is no one else to take up. The work has to move on. Just go jump in. Don't classify yourself as architect. Okay, I don't like to touch anything. I don't know. I really don't like it that way. Yeah, I'm heading the group, but there is a problem over there, and then there can be potentially security aspects when a few blocks, such as a smart endpoint or a DMA accelerator, is facing the host. Are people recognizing it? So I need to go talk, and then they will in a way enrich me in terms of how they have actually thought through. Then we need to get all these details covered up. So always get into the mindset of, okay, primarily I'm so and so verifier, but then there has to be a design work, and then we could not hire, or that person left, or that person is sick. So many. and then the work has to move on. Okay, the environment is encouraging. It's probably your manager has said, okay, I need the work moving. Can you take it up? Okay, you take more time. Yeah, the designer might complete it in 3 weeks. You take 6 weeks. The basics have to remain the same. That's the key. You cannot really say that I have to be only in this. I prefer always, the ones who are chameleons. They just wear different hats. Okay, I'm verifying now. I'll wear, the verification hat. I'm a designer now. I'm going to wear, the designer hat. I'm, validating now. Yeah. Once I was asked to develop the validation test plan for the entire SOC. That's the first time. And then I had to do that because the person was missing. Yes, I was jittery because my confidence levels were pretty close to zero. But then took up, yeah, it's all about the environment. And then my boss that time, he said, hey, I had to get these things done. So take your time. It's okay. Then yeah, the experienced person would finish about 6 to 9 weeks. I took about 8 weeks. Yeah, because I had to really ramp up. Because I prefer to get into that philosophy in the first place. Why do you need validation as opposed to verification? You think through the performance over there, which is not uh, so effective in verification. You can't have too many millions of packets sent in the verification because the simulation database grows exponentially. So that's where the validation comes into play. So you need to wear that hat, be like that person. So yeah, though I'm actually asking you to check that particular part, okay, how do I behave in various circumstances? That personality has to really gel with what you do. Uh, there are going to be moments where you would be thrown. Yeah, be ready. Okay. Then this is my favorite statement, the resonance. Yeah, somewhere in a majority of your time has to be where you can give your maximum energy. Okay, where there is going to be maximum transfer of energy from you to the stakeholders. Who are the stakeholders? Whoever are paying you in terms of the product delivery, right? So that's where majorly you need to spend your time. Yeah, just think through and then. All the designations are pretty much broad in general. Yes, we're talking, at least the examples that I've picked up are from electronics industry, but then they can span even beyond. Okay, so thinking from scratch, okay, get into these. We're double checking all the details, finding out flaws in the systems. Kind of wacky. Don't trust anyone. Good. Get into verification validation because that's what you are. So when your personality matches your work, wow, it's resonance out there. That's how I think. Yeah. So get to that part. Okay. Then okay, this is kind of yeah. This section is a bit loaded, but I want to include because I had done a few mistakes again as part of my early career. I share with them as I go along. Hopefully, you don't commit. You become more serious than I was at that time. And then the last section is going to focus on yeah, what the objective of this presentation is at least set out to be. Okay, let's assume for a moment that you all are CTOs and CEOs and CFOs who definitely will not have time for me. Then they typically say, okay, give me just 2 words or even 1 word. Of course, I negotiated for 2 words and then wind up the presentation. Then I just have to say these two. How passionate you are. That's pretty much you need to answer. Then you got to manage the spectrum of emotions that you actually deal with, while picking up any career. That's like, we're going to talk about them. But once you can manage these two well, yeah, pretty much, the successful career is out there with you. because the products require thousands of people to work together. In fact, my product, we are talking of 850 people working day in and day out, and I'm not including all the contractors here. Loads of stuff. Yeah, it's really tricky and it's fun. Just creating something so unique. Yeah, it's really great, but you need to feel it. You wake up in the morning. Okay, I'm doing another job. I'm getting salary to pay the bills. I'm not really sure. Probably this particular presentation is not meant for them. You have to bring out that who you are, and then just get it done. That's what we. Okay. Okay. So I would like to ask, how many times have you said, wow, during your of 4 years of a bachelor's? Is there any particular chapter that has given you the goosebumps while studying something? Have you got really excited? Yeah, we talk of so many walks. I understand. Raging hormones. Yeah, we look at Hrithik Roshan. Wow, okay, great. Sunny Leone. Okay, wow, great. That's great. But then anything else? It's the same orgasmic state, even while studying your subjects. Could you pick up some examples that have really kicked you into the next gear, where you have felt, okay, this is really great. This is what I need to be part of at some point. Have you ever felt any one example from any of you that has really kicked you to the higher gear? That orgasmic ecstatic state. I'm not getting any examples. Just one.
Sir, I would say when I realized that everything in this world is a system built upon a system, then my gears and control theory like really jumped in.
Good. Good. Yeah. There'll be something that actually triggers you, that gets into the high state. We do so many mistakes for getting into that high state, right? And why not do a better mistake? It's the same thing here. These things are really very, very exciting for me. Yeah, I read the complex numbers in 12th class. It's more like a forest, right? We are in the real world. Get into the forest jungle, then we do some magic, we come back to the real world. If you can't do the magic, we just stay in the complex world. Again, we just can't find out the root. Amazing, right? Then you have these sine cos functions related to the imaginary exponential functions. Wow. Just, great. And then Fourier series, you have a fundamental sine wave. And then any wave can be constructed with these sine waves of different phases, amplitudes. Wow, it's amazing. Yeah, I mean, the thought itself, apparently the person was watching, he was sailing in a ship, and then he was looking at the ocean, and then the waves motivated. I don't know whether it's a true story, but yeah, immediately he came up with the Fourier series. Yeah, I don't know whether it's true, but that's what I read. That really triggered me to find out, okay, how he really could do that. Okay, that's where you need to get that wow. Okay, then I mean Laplace transforms. What the hell is that? I mean, you have differentiations, integrations you can't really solve in the regular way. Then they suddenly become multiplication and divisions with that exponentially decaying function. That guy Laplace created a magic with a simple integrating function with a decaying exponential function, and then you are able to solve the ones that are otherwise not solved in regular fashion. Just amazing. AMFM story. When FM maths was not so perfect, you have to, in a way, say that in this first order, it's going to give you the best quality. The guy who proposed it was really taken to the task. He had to face so many legal battles. He committed suicide. Family left. Yeah, but then posthumously, and again, not because of his death, the quality. Today, FM intertwined with our lives. I drive FM on, right? So that's where I have to deal with this height of stupidity at times. Oh, I'm reading something that is not really useful to me. What the hell? We are just learning how to learn any point of time. We are trying to tickle every cell of our brain through doing all of this. And then when we're paid to do something, when we take the ownership, we deliver. That's pretty much you have to get to. So yeah, you have to get that wow factor, otherwise there's no fun. Okay. And then not all the stocks are ideal. I was lucky, I must admit. Yeah, I have been lucky in my life occasionally. I mean, I got laid off, but I got laid off with 4 months of package and then got a job within 2 months. So it's like I enjoyed the most during my layoff because every day I was going out with my wife to a mall and then returning in the evening to pick my kids from the school and then playing badminton. I was the fittest during my layoff period. Uh, yeah, what does this tell you? It's fine. There are going to be bumps along the road, but you need to really, have fun. Okay. So this is what I would like to say. You like to be a designer, but then you get the opportunity in verification. Okay, why not make it count? And then be on the lookout for the opportunity instead of really, sticking to your plan. There could be a higher realm that you are not aware of. You might be really good at there, or something is meant for you there. I don't know. I know it's deeply philosophical. Of course, you try for whatever you like, but repeatedly you are getting, only one opportunity. Then make it count. Okay. I had to tell you, I want to become analog designer first. I was trying for that analog design openings. I couldn't get. Then I got this digital design job, and then I just went for it. Then finally realized how good it was, and then the protocols that I was part of. Wow, it's really great. So just counter what you get. Okay. And then first 3 years of your career are very, very important. You need to, in a way, pick what you like and then continue doing it. Just in case it's really taxing, it's not really working out well, don't hesitate to move. But take the next opportunity, okay, while delivering goods in the current opportunity. Don't make the wild move of leaving everything. Uh, that yeah, I understand. Again, all these are my perspectives. You might not agree with me. Yeah, that's okay. So we don't need to agree, align on each and everything. That's really stupid again. We're different people, 9 billion people, 9 billion perspectives. That's the best part. Okay. But just imagine, you're getting something, you're asked to deliver. That simply shows your capability. So why not build that capability whether you like it? Because the opportunity is given to you. Okay. Then another height of stupidity at times I deal with. Okay, wasting time and energy beyond 1 to 2 years to get what you want instead of focusing on what you have in your hand. Yeah, think about it. What you get is something that you need to make the most. Don't leave what you like. Just keep trying. Yeah, but first 2 to 3 years of your career should pretty much give you the vision. You need to really try for that. Then this is my favorite quote. Actually, I keep talking to my kids tons of times. They get bored, whenever I say they don't let me finish. They finish this. Prepare for the moment and not at the moment. What are you doing right now? Don't think that the exact same form is going to be what is being asked of you later, or what will be asked of you later. It can be very different. But then, because you have prepared now, that moment is going to be easy. That's the key. Okay. Now, many of you are talking of all these dream jobs, possibly, right? That's a norm, yeah. Rightly so. Then have you really gone through the grind of what is really required? If at all you are aspiring to be a verifier, have you already started looking at the system Verilog, UVM? If you aspire to be working on a board, have you ever tinkered with any printed circuit board? Developed any firmware code? Okay. So theory is great. You need to understand things, but then you need to practice hell lot. Okay. And then we look for the internships with the best companies. Yeah, why not? But then there are startups. They need you. Why are you not trying? They give you the whole project, whereas I give you the very specific module because I got the whole team working on the whole project. So I ramp you up step by step. But then in a startup, the work has to be done by many. Everybody does everything. I worked in the startups. I knew how it actually would go. I started as a designer. They said, no, you verify this. Okay, I verified. Then they said, okay, this block needed in your microarchitecture. Okay, move there. Fun. Okay, being given the opportunity, the time, the luxury. Don't go for the big names. That's a mistake. What you do. Okay, that's the key. Yeah, industry is all about implementation. Not a talk in thin air. As much as we talk hell lot, you need to go deliver and then get things done, get things moving. That's what it is. Yeah, good or bad. So if you don't like it, it's fine. But that's what is expected of you. Of course, you can pick up a few examples and then say, okay, yeah, those people are surviving. That's okay. But why don't we pick up the best way of survival? Why are we picking up bad examples? Right? You got to manage the spectrum of your emotions. It's very important. You are going to work with the best of the best teams now. Okay, be it a startup or a company like Intel, Qualcomm, Broadcom, Nvidia, and those best people are not with those high-flying academic degrees, but then they fight. Okay, that's a key. So at times you get jealous of the team members who are definitely better than you. But why don't you recognize that jealousy is the highest form of respect? Somebody has set the standards for you. Yeah, appreciate and then learn, right? Then you say, okay, everybody else is growing, you're not growing. Yeah, be on the lookout for an opportunity. That's okay. But with that negative mindset, don't stop delivering now. This is what is in the hand. Make it count. Some are luckier than you. Happens all the time. It happens, but most of the times I've seen, they are actually working very hard to make the luck work for them. You got to recognize that. Yeah, again, leave those exceptions in the Gaussian curve. The tails are always not indicative of the norm. Okay, so yeah, I mean, one overnight success is a result of 20, 30 years of hard work, possibly. Okay, prepare for the moment, not really prepare at the moment. And yeah, don't really get into the nuances and then other things that you can't control. They don't really get you anywhere. Okay, kind of loading your brain with unnecessary stuff. Then yeah, everyone in the team wants to succeed. Okay, so but your success is not at the cost of other success. Teamwork. You got to recognize that you want to succeed, but others also equally want to succeed. You need to recognize that. Help them to help yourself succeed. Okay, we ought to be selfish. Yes, I want to grow, but not at the cost of others. It's a win-win. Okay. Then no one seems to bother about your success. That's true. I don't come and if you're in my team, I don't come and tell you this is a way to grow. I asked the questions. I asked. There was one person. He was very happy doing whatever his stuff he was doing. I asked, okay, you are doing this. Are you fine? He picked up my tone. Then he started pushing me. Okay, I want this, I want that. Yeah, then it's easy for me. I can fight, the battles on his behalf, provided that person actually commits first. Okay, I can't otherwise do it. Okay, so that's where you come in. You need to drive. You need to own up your success, or your roadmap. You got to think what you need. How you want to grow, and then talk. If it's not working with my team, then it should work elsewhere. All the decision making comes quite easily once you really get there. Okay. So yes, bloody own your career. No exceptions here. You are trying to demand respect, high compensation because of all these high-flying academic degrees. It doesn't work. Uh, what we want to see is the results commensurate with your high-flying degrees. That's what is going to earn the respect. Most of the times, I deal with such stuff. Of course, I actually nip at the butt. I tell them very clearly. You see, these things are not really bad, but that's how we mature. It's fine. It's absolutely fine. But it's good that you recognize them early on, and then work in your best interest. That's all I'm trying to say. Once you're in the industry, it's a level playing ground for all. Okay. The only thing that matters is the delivery on time with quality. And for that, you need to work with the rest. You are one among 850 people. All are really fighting for, the hikes. All are really fighting for the promotion. It's really great. It's great to be part of the competitive world. But you got to take the competition in the right speed, not really getting depressed, not getting negative. Don't get there. It's fun. The competitive spirit is what is going to keep you alive most of the times. Right? It's very lively, but you recognize, you appreciate, others who are doing better than you. With 22 years, there are people who have started their own companies. I'm not done that. That's fine. I enjoy delivering, these complex products related to the data centers, clouds. I'm fine with it. Be in your own time zone. But don't aspire less. Probably, who knows? Some of you might start a company very early on, and then I would love to apply. Yeah. Every possibility is out there. It's on the anvil. You just go, get it done. Don't run after designations. That ventil is flat. We are managers, and there is only one official designation that's VP of engineering. Otherwise, we are just the managers with different grades. That's it. Continue doing what you like. Okay. As long as you're doing what you're liking, and then going to the bed with a tough problem in the mind, and then waking up possibly with a hunch towards a solution, if not the solution itself. Wow, that's great. You're already rocking. Yeah, great. And then, yeah, enjoy your time zone. Discuss, debate, and deliver. Teamwork. I've already talked about it. Just keep talking to the people. Ask the others to review your code. Don't keep it to yourself, because the code has to work out there. If your team doesn't find the issues, somebody else will find the issues. If somebody else is learning out of your code, be glad. Don't think that you're learning from my code. That's too petty. Don't get there. Effective communication is very, very critical. At some point, you have to really communicate to all the stakeholders. Work on your language. Very, very important. How many of you have completed the Norman Lewis even without appearing for the exams such as say CAT, GRE? Okay, I'm not taking any answers now, but if you're not doing it, it means you're thinking in a silo state. Okay, I will improve my language only when it's required. Who the hell told you that? You got to be good. You got to have good language skills. Again, I'm not really saying that you need to really impress, but you should be able to state very clearly what you want to state. The others have to really understand. It means we need to work on our accent. Again, do I speak like an American? No, absolutely not. But then if I speak, can the American understand? Yes, because I work with Israelis, people from Ireland, and then from San Jose, US. okay, and occasionally from Malaysia. Because I worked in Malaysia for 6 years, we still have some time over there in terms of our products. Everyone speaks very differently. First thing first, you need to develop the capability to understand different accents. That's really required. So you don't complain, but then you need to also make an effort to ensure that you are speaking in a neutral way that really works for everyone. Important. Then I see that I work with the best people, but then they're really intuitive. It means they really get to the solution, like probably Ramanujam. But then the outside world doesn't understand. It doesn't work, at least in the industry. Yes, you have seen the result, but you need to still be logical when you present it to others. That's really the key. Get there. Sometimes you say, okay, I think this is a solution. Great, but why do you think? Okay, have you given the proof? Have you worked through the mathematics behind it? Have you worked through all the numbers? Are you making a convincing story? That's a key. And yeah, it's not really cultural, but I see it mostly with us Indians. We don't pick up battles. It's like we get into simple arguments in the drawing room to prove that you know better than me, I know better than you. Why? That's not the point. The point is what is right over there. Collectively get to the spot, get to the point. That then highest level of transparency. You're working on something. You know that you have done something wrong. Just put it out. It's fine. If the environment is not supportive of what you're doing truthfully, then it's not meant for you. That's okay, but you need to really get there. Never stop learning with focus on execution. Absolutely. I mean, yeah, if there is one muscle in our body that works till the last minute, I believe it's brain. I really believe it's brain. Then why do you want to stop it from working? Why do you want to binge watch Netflix, TikTok, all that useless? Again, it's your call. You go ahead. You are adults. But then I'm asking you, what are you doing with that muscle that can get you anywhere, right? Keep going beyond your comfortable zone. That's really important. Somebody asks you to work on verification validation ad hoc. From nowhere the request comes, and they know that you are good at design, but they're asking you. So somebody has trusted you. Take it, grab it, deliver. At least try. Lay exhausted in the battlefield. At least that's okay. That's a key. Then yeah, this is something, listening skills. By the way, whatever I tell you, I constantly keep practicing. I'm not good either. I went through all of it, so I keep practicing. You have to improve your listening skills. We listen to respond. No, first listen to understand the perspective. 9 billion people, 9 billion perspectives. Your ability to assimilate different perspectives and then come up with a solution is what is going to make you a leader. I have to say this. There are excellent people, but then unfortunately, they can't be in the positions of the leaders simply because they don't listen. They just want to prove that they are better than others. They are. Indeed, they are. They are better than the rest. But doesn't work. Simply because the others sometimes come up with a great idea. When refined in the team, it's going to turn out to be a brilliant solution. You need to get there. And then this is something I advise. But again, you may have your own perspective. You need to be more like a chameleon. You know that animal, right? Apparently, when on the trunk it turns brown, and then when on the leaves it turns green, something of that kind. So it changes colors. So uh, in this case, I'm asking you to be more like a chameleon. Depending on the task at hand, you need to wear that particular hat. Yeah, as much as I have said you that you need to improve your listening skills, probably sometimes you need to state your point of view bluntly and bluntly because you have seen some merit in it and you believe that that's the best. I've done that. I had to fight with a few who are from the best universities, University of California, Berkeley, and a few others. But they're great people. But on those aspects, I'm better. That's as simple as that. You need to recognize your superiority. Yeah, so that's where, yeah, there are moments when you need to be arrogant because you need to force others to listen. And then works, the project will be given to you, you handle and then deliver. Because you can't allow the wrong things. At least you have said the right thing, that's good enough. Eventually they realize and come back. And some other times, because it's a system, a few others might take a critical view and then they always come back to you. That's the best part of the industry. It's not autocratic. It's not decided by one single person. It's a system. So yeah, in a mature system, you always get the right results. So state sometimes what you think is the right. But again, I take the feedback. What you think is right may not be the right thing. But if the others are not able to justify what they're thinking, what will be the reasons now? They're not oratory enough. They're not technical enough. They're just presenting the hunches, but not really the in-between logical step. It's an issue. Okay, you need to work it out. Yeah, this growth pyramid, right? As you go up above on this pyramid, yeah, the opportunities are less and less. Not everyone is a VP, not everyone is a CEO. Okay, keep trying, but you need to recognize it. Okay, and then what does the person at the top of this pyramid have? Look at the inverted pyramid. At the top, that person, he or she, okay, no gender bias any point of time. That person has the highest breadth, the highest depth. I don't know whether my English is correct here, but that's what he or she has. That's how it is. As you go up the growth pyramid, you need to build many levers, not just only unidirectionally one part of design. You should be multitudinal in terms of your approach. Okay, and then networking is really key. You need to network with the people of right mindset, positive mindset. That's a key. Okay, and then you need to give feedback fearlessly. At times people are wrong. It hurts the moment, but it's better that I told him or her that it's not working rather than not give that constructive feedback and then keep it with me. That doesn't work. And then again, take the constructive feedback in the same vigor. Yeah, the person might have just joined, but then he might have got something from me. She might have found out that probably I'm a bit not caring so much for a few employees. I got to take it. That might happen unknowingly because we all belong to different cultures, different parenting backgrounds. Yeah, so as long as you're willing to listen, you can connect anything to everything. You're not willing to listen, an issue. Okay. My favorite slide, they are going to be failures. But it's just how you take them. It's fun. My best fun was, that 3 months of layoff. Loads of fun. I was really the fittest. I know I'm repeating, but loads of badminton singles. Yeah, only this year, thanks to COVID, I stopped playing badminton. I need to resume. It's tough to get, singles players. That's it. And then I got affected with COVID in between. So yeah, I need to get there. It's fun. Failures are fun, really. Just yeah, and you're not all alone in the failures. All are there. We've seen it, but done it too. So it's fine. Despite all of it, one thing: are you, going through the process? Yes. I told you. Yeah, I was going to the malls in the morning and then coming in the evening every day. Partly correct, partly wrong, because I don't like to state positive things every time out. I mean, not everyone is interested. I was also actually reviewing my career. I had a few blind spots in my career. I did not study a few things properly. I delivered, but I know why I delivered and then what it really meant. I was really going through all of them, and then completed a few courses online, because you knew that you had some kind of gap, and uh, the time is given to you. Just enjoy it. Yeah. And then immediately I was within 2 months or so I was hired. Yeah, and then back to the work mode. Yeah, that's how it is. It's fun. And then during the points of failures, you need to get in touch with your networked peers, or network people. They're the ones who can help you out. So yeah, you need to network. Again, it calls for teamwork. If you say that I'm an individual contributor, not going to talk to anyone, I know everything, it doesn't work. You need to work with the people, whatever it is. We are social animals, beings, whatever. But this is something, you always have to believe in the magic. You have to think that, okay, somewhere something is going to work for you. Keep going ahead, keep marching ahead. Okay, most of people are really into, okay, I'll go through this drudgery, nothing is going to happen better. No, you have a thought, you have ambition, then most likely the universe will pay a way, but you still have to have that ambition. You still have to work for that. And eventually all the dots get connected. And yeah, it has happened, my friend's case, my case, everyone's case. But first of all, create the dots. That's the key. Okay, and you don't create the dots, then nobody's going to come to you for anything. Okay, you still have to make the effort. And when nobody's watching you, when you're free, what do you do? More or less, that's what is going to decide how how high you go, or how much satisfaction you get out of your career. What a bit. I don't like to say that you need to really build loads of knowledge in terms of the products, the protocols, which I do, but I'm not actually quoting it. Probably you like to be more philosophical, more content. It's fine, but when nobody's asking you to do anything, when nobody's asking you to deliver anything, what do you pick up? If you're picking up Netflix, if you're picking up something else, and then you're binge watching and stuff, just getting relaxed, then yeah, you know what you're getting. And then as long as you're happy with it, it's fine. But yeah, just go for it. Saying no is very important. Never to toxic relationships. In the workplace, of course, in personal life too. Yeah, there are some hard bosses who, yeah, again, pity their backgrounds. I don't know what kind of, the childhood they had, whatever. Yeah, some really trouble. They tend to insult, they tend to, yeah, I faced. Move on. Don't really, yeah, being part of the system, trying to correct is an ideal thing, but sometimes it doesn't work because the whole system is that way. So let's move on. Always look for a pleasant workplace where you'll be challenged continually on a high level. That's the key. Tomorrow should be better than today. Why not? On a bigger scale, it should be. Okay. But again, I'm actually distinguishing between a tough boss and a bad boss here. A tough boss is going to be behind you. He says, okay, you delivered the design, but its area is not good. Its performance is not good. That is supposed to operate at 400 Gbps, but you are saying that you can only support 350 Gbps. It doesn't work for me. He is going to get you there because he understands what you do. No shortcuts there. So yeah, you need to understand this, and then never ever get into these toxic relationships. It's strange. Just like in personal relationships, at times even the official relationships are emotionally negatively loaded, possessive, and things of that kind. Don't get there. Today I'm working with a team. Some of the team members might leave for better opportunities. That's good. In future, I might work for him or her, or again he or she might join us back. Every possibility is on the table. Why do I want to make it a rogue stuff, right? Okay, say no. That equal applies even to your personal relationship. Enjoy, I, I can virtually buy everything that I need, but I can't buy the association, the priceless association. Price. Everything is priced. Getting bullied, you just don't accept that. Bullying others, that comes. Probably you're in a bully as a kid. Yeah, then you tend to, in a way, reflect it onto others. You just don't do that. Okay. Anything unreasonable, it's okay. Say no. Absolutely. You have to learn to say no. As simple as that. Yeah. Health is wealth. I hope this is the last boring slide in this. Uh, I have witnessed COVID fatalities. At least the ones that uh, I was party to. All those were, the cases of obesity, abnormal blood pressure, diabetes, underlying causes such as, some lung infection, but not the COVID itself. What does it tell you? Prepare for the moment, not prepare at the moment. I mean, why is there a pot belly there? Why can't you go exercise? Again, I'm not saying if you love to have it, okay, go on. You're fat, you know that. Then why are you continuing to be fat? Is it the decision? I understand all that. Okay, body shaming. No, I'm not actually calling that. I'm saying, that you need to correct a part of you. Do that. Spend some time every day. What is stopping you to be healthy? Okay. Sleep is very, very important. Yes. Again, I have to tell you that I'm always hyperactive, right, since my childhood, I believe. But then I ensure that I get sleep, sufficient sleep. There are days when I work continuously, 2 to 3 days no sleep, but then I ensure that my brain gets rested for at least a full day, 12, 14 hours. It's not really a good habit, but yeah, I've been trying to work on it. But the hyperactivity levels at times get to us, but sleep well, exercise, all that has to be present. So yeah, you got to. This is something, yeah, the world is out there to get you in its entertainment loop, Netflix, Prime Video, Hotstar, so many sports activities. Pick up, watch the finals. What is the point in watching, 5-day test match? You laugh it, okay, go ahead. Are you in it? Do you want to become a cricket commentator? But okay, the fifth day, or the last session of the fifth day, because it has gone interesting. Great. Then the finals of Wimbledon, the finals of something else. Yeah, fine. But then binge watching, binge doing something of this kind, all this. Not really sure. Yeah. And then on top, we want to do better things in life. Then you need to spend time. Or better things if you want to get better things. Again, it's your call. It's very personal. Somebody might tell me, "Hey, I want to be unhealthy. I want to enjoy my beer." Go on. Even I do. But then when I have it, the next 2 days, I ensure that I do some kind of exercise and then have lots of buttermilk and things of that kind. Yeah, you got to get the alcohol out of your body. You can't keep it there. Okay, with all those tough slides gone, this is what actually I'm asked to do. But it's always those subtleties that I'm really fond of because I keep thinking in that direction, and then I lead the team of excellent team. Really, I always say I'm really a representative. Really lucky to be in a team where I'm the lowest in terms of IQ. The rest are better than me. Great. That's what that's where you want to be, and that's what you want to be part of. Just yeah, if you can get there, I'm sure. Or you just go create one. Who knows? You would like to start a company in clouds or artificial intelligence. Probably you have an idea. Yeah, I would love to apply. Probably part of the motivation talking to you is, my networking is going on with potential CEOs, CFOs, whatnot. Okay, so in terms of the career opportunities now, I'm actually looking at all these branches, electronics. They're nothing like, usually the bachelors will not have any semiconductors unless it's a subject. Then instrumentation is another branch. I also have seen bachelors in embedded systems. Then even electrical engineering people can pick up whatever we do in electronic industry because they do have courses, at least in my times, which is 20 years back. Okay. Then yeah, computers, yes, they can pick up anything. The hardware design part is where they need to pick up, but otherwise they're good, reasonably good at the verification part. Only thing is they need to think in the synchronous fashion because we talk of a clock that goes to all the flops. So that's kind of synchronous modeling as opposed to the sequential. Okay, I get this executed and then the next statement gets executed. It's not that we're talking about. In electronics, it's all about the clock goes out there because we mostly design synchronous systems. If you're into academics and the research, yes, you might be working on a few asynchronous systems. Yeah, that's great. Where they have actually removed the notion of clock. The events actually give you the result. Yeah, that's where you're deeply into the analog designs too. Okay, and then IT automation. This is what we are going to talk about. What can they take up? You have tons of options for sure. Especially with the growing clouds because that's the best economic model. Okay, because you pay per use, and then that actually calls for the highest performing hardware. That's where we come in. That calls for the best optimized software that can be instantiated multiple times without any load. So that's where these DevOps or other software developers come into play. And then in between we have these embedded systems, firmware, BIOS. If you have a chip, you need to know how to boot it up, how to bring it to life. So that's where the firmware comes into play. Then artificial intelligence, data science. It's the latest fad, but it's a necessity. A small point. Artificial intelligence is not something new. We have been talking about right since 1940s or 50s, but today it's a necessity. Why? Because the data has exploded. The CEO cannot simply make a decision these days because he has to collect the data across the functions, the finance, the engineering, the ops, the HR, and then he has to look at a bigger picture. So much of data, he cannot, work out on paper. So that's where he simply uses the AI and then collects the data, then starts, inferring. So the data explosion has led to this proliferation of AI jobs. Okay. That's how it is. Otherwise, AI is not something new. And then there are other career options, IT support and maintenance. In my setup, I have hundreds of laptops, desktops, and then they need to work seamlessly. Then we actually switch between the Windows and the Linux. There is a Samba interface. All that has to be supported, maintained, and at the same time scaled up. It needs to be faster because our systems are complex. So if you have to run a simulation, if it's taking 2 hours for the simulation to end, then the IT person gets called in. He has to find out a way to optimize, either increase the servers, the number of servers, or change the license to a newer version because sometimes the tool itself might have got optimization in terms of speed and performance. You need to get that. So that's where the IT comes into play, and flow design automation, where the entire execution has to be seamless and ensure that the end of the chip is well connected to the beginning of the architecture. In between, there are many process steps. That's where the flow people work. DC Cloud app developers who have seen, then IT. Yeah, probably I might be repeating here. Security engineers. They have become really vital. I mean, Intel took a backlash in terms of a product that's not very secure about 3 years back. I forgot the name of the issue. Yeah, you can Google it. So so security engineers are becoming critical, and your electronics degree can help you. Only thing is you need just one certification. Everything comes together. That's one thing I want you to think deeply. You have an electronics degree doesn't mean that you have to think of only one particular segment. You just need one certification, ethical hacking also, that's it, you are done. Because the systems, the capability to think through the systems is already there with you. You just have to refine your skills in terms of your security, or an additional master's that gives you enough depth in the security, AI, or something else. Let's look at this. Am I overshooting the time? Yes, 1 second. 12. Okay, at least I would like to leave half an hour for the question and answer session, but pretty much done. So if you take the ASIC flow, right, I have these design specifications and architectural design that has to get modeled, and then the logic has to be implemented. Synthesis is where you move from one abstraction of code to the abstraction of the gates, where your design resides. Then I need to place and route that particular design, and then I need to have proper layout so that it meets the timing very properly. Then no noise issues and things of that kind. And then I take this, it's not captured here, I take this layout, give out to the fabrication lab. That can be from Intel or from TSMC. Not every time I get lucky with Intel Fab Lab, because Intel manufactures tons of chips. If it's busy, I go outside. So typically we are, at least for the past 2 years, we're going to TSMC to get things done. In all these places, you have the opportunities. You can be an architect, design, verifier, structural design, and physical design, SDPD. That's where you get into this synthesis, place and route, and then design layout. Okay. I know why I did not use the laser pointer. Sorry about it. And then once you have the chip back from the fab lab, yeah, you have to test it. You have to have the firmware to get it up and running. So that's where the SOC firmware developer is needed, and then the validation people are needed. FPGA design is slightly different. FPGA is where you already have the sea of gates, and then a few small IPs which are hardened, or the soft IPs that you can readily synthesize. You create the system and then quickly get to the implementation. So that's what is done here. Yeah, the architecture phase is common anyway, because the system has to be viewed. Then you develop the RTL code. Any RTL code has to be verified, right? That's where the simulations come into play. Again, synthesis, we have talked about it, moving from the higher abstraction of code to the lower abstraction of the gates, the physical gates we're talking of. The NAND gates, multiplexers, flops, comparators, all those, they come into play there. Then FPGA layout is different because the gates are already placed. Okay, the routing is the key over there. How you route the systems to have the best timing. When I say timing, it's all about how high frequency you can run the design at. Excuse me. So yeah, and then finally you implement the design. That's how it is. And even here you have the designer, verifier, FPGA implementation that exclusively focuses on physical layout. You understand the physical layout. You cannot change anything. You can only change the wiring in FPGAs because the logic gates are already there. That's how it is. And then finally you configure. The bit stream has to be downloaded. Yeah, you need a firmware anywhere you have a processor because you need to make it work, and then you also have to configure your system in the beginning so that it sends packets at a certain rate, be it high or low, depending on your interacting systems. So that's how it is. In terms of skill set, yes, Verilog system, Verilog VHDL, just about 10% for the design. That's more than enough. 10% of the constructs. That's what I mean. The language has got many constructs. But for the design, you need to still think through the logic, and then you write the code to realize the logic. You don't actually think in terms of the language. You don't do that. But for verification, it's the other way. You have to have efficient coding to ensure, some corner case scenarios, some tricky, test stimuli. That's where you have to be really good at the language. Okay. Yeah, some people really love to tinker the code. They pick up the Linux OS and then change a few things here and there. They see what happens. And such people are really damn good for this. There is some tweaking in terms of thinking, but that can be always picked up. Then for validation, typically it's C++. Because validation has all these languages, C, C++, where through which you interact with the board and then send the packets in and collect the packets out. You're literally talking about millions of packets. Yeah, it's all about the performance related mindset, in validation. You don't really think of one particular control register or one particular pipeline register. That's for the verification. But for validation, it's the system's perspective. This application has to run in 2 microseconds. Why is it taking more time? This has to give me 600 million packets per second. Why is it giving me only 400 million packets per second? Is it misbehaving when I'm driving just the 100 million packets per second, though it is capable of driving 600 million packets per second? That's what you really get into in validation. This is something you need to know. To get a quick start, most likely it's the verification, validation, and the physical design, structural design. So in that aspect and respect, you may need to talk to your faculty in terms of having such courses that can directly get you. And I think you get all kinds of tool support from these companies such as Cadence, Mentor, because they like the kids. Sorry, you're not kids, adults or adolescents. You really can pick up on all those tools. It's actually good for them, So please feel free to work with them. If you are not really working already, I believe you are. Then here is embedded systems. It's a mix of hardware, software with the firmware in between. Yeah, you can easily understand that's not a big deal. Here again, you have software developer, firmware developer. Pretty much you focus on the low-level software here because you want to achieve something like RTOS, real-time operating systems, which has to be faster. So you really focus on the memory aspects. You don't have a lot of space for embedded systems that typically get into your washing machines and other TVs. You have limited space there, so you need to play within the space. At the same time, you need to be faster because faster within the limits of perception. The human eye. It's about as long as you are about 24 frames per second, that's what the movie is played with, right? You're fine. You can't really recognize that it's a moving role. But then if it's a slow motion, then it's like frame by frame. So that's where you get into. So embedded systems really plays within those human perceptible limits, if I can state so. Yeah, this is a typical skill set we're talking of. C, C++. Assembly is really critical. A few optimized codes are always from the assembly code. Of course, of late we are almost have moved to C. Really, people are using assembly code because they have an assembler that does bit optimization. But still, in a few cases, people look at the assembly code, try to optimize because it's so critical for them. That's how it is. Then yeah, embedded people also use the hardware design, but not to a lot of extent. Yeah, so they'll be familiar with the design constructs. They quickly design some glue logic, not as complex as ASIC or an FPGA or AFPGA. So that's how it works. Then you have this, validation, C, C++, Tickle, Perl, and PCB tinkering. You need to go get there in terms of the printed circuit boards. Niche skill set. Yeah, this is something you pick up not as part of your coursework unless you're really blessed. You have these AI algorithms to really play with in terms of both design and validation. You need to understand the problem and see what kinds of inference learning algorithms you need to apply, and then inferencing algorithms you need to apply. So you really get to do that AI design over there, and then you design, somebody else has to validate by giving those data sets, and then see how efficiently it's learning and then inferencing. Then security, we are really concerned. Every product of ours is under the gun, and the two, any famous person is under attack. Shah Rukh Khan's son, but then in a way he's paying more price. Yeah, I don't support what he's done, but then unfortunately he pays more price because he's the son of Shah Rukh Khan. Probably my kid does. Nobody bothers. At the max, my parents called me. That's it. I wish it doesn't happen, but I'm telling you the difference. And same is the case with Intel. Anything Intel delivers, there are people, who would like to try out different security aspects over there and then publish because they get the name and recognition. And yeah, that's where we have to be extremely careful because we can't give any room for any security loopholes. Okay, and I personally champion, the security first mindset from Intel India Design Center. I also train people on a few courses, especially the hardware security aspects on this. It's close to my heart. It's more like, security AI are more like the maths for the ASIC. If I don't know maths, I can't really appreciate the engineering courses, as simple as that. Same is the case. Now they have become so fundamental. I need to know them. While I'm designing, they need to be kind of internalized. While I'm designing the say the networking CSR, I need to understand CSR is control and status registers. I need to see how the hacker can get to this register and then play with it. That has to come very naturally. There cannot be that thinking a bit later in the design cycle. That's where we get troubled. We get screwed. Okay. Then cloud data centers, the setup, the maintenance. It's See, at some point you understand that everything is critical. We all would like to pick up the fancy words, the design, the verification, the validation. No, um, maintaining the IT setup for the high performance teams is very, very critical. We don't like to see any gaps in terms of our tool related aspects. No time delays. They trouble our thinking. We want to be faster, and they facilitate. We need to thank them. Niche skills typically require a master's or some kind of certification. There are tons out there. Okay. Wow. Done. Yeah, I thought I would give 1 hour for the Q&A, but it's about 25 minutes. Yeah, I was short. Yeah, thank you all. Thanks for your patience.
Thank you, sir. Thank you so much.
For your thoughts, provoking and very interesting session.
Yeah, any questions, anything?
So now let's widen our horizon to make this session more interesting and more interactive. We'll be taking up questions from the audience. So dear attendees, let your queries and doubts be resolved by our expert.
Abhinav Bhaiya wants to ask a question. Bhaiya, would you please turn on your mic?
Yes. Am I audible?
Yes.
Yes.
Sir. Good afternoon, sir. And sir, it was a wonderful presentation, and I got to know many things, sir. And thanks for that. So, like in one of the slides, you mentioned that names don't matter. You're doing big matters. So, like, sir, while pursuing something big or some big challenges, we start as a bachelor or as just a fresher, we start. But what happens after some time? We involved in a process and we start learning the things. But we slowly get to know that we have to learn that also. We have to learn that also for starting another thing. Suppose we are starting with a design of something that's very difficult. But in the midst of that, we get to know that I have to learn first this, then I have to learn this. So in the continuous process, slowly, the things are so difficult that we lose the motivation. So in the we leave the thought of completing the project or something like that, because the things are complex and we have to learn so many things to complete that final project. So what your views on that, like how to
Yeah.
complete or like how to pursue such things?
Actually, you have put it really well. You have hit the spot, both in the extremely positive way, knowing that you need to learn so many things. That's where I have called out, the inverted pyramid. Why did I call out that inverted pyramid? Because you start with something, but day by day, year by year, you just keep on increasing your skill set. Okay, and you have hit the spot in the most negative way too, because that's kind of daunting. It's not. That's why you need to bring up the bigger philosophy. I mean, we are part of this huge universe. We don't know why we are here, why we are not elsewhere. I'm infinitesimally small, but then there is this brain that's going anywhere. Yeah, we don't know what's going to bring tomorrow. In that vast multitude of aspects, the only thing that we can do is continue learning, right? Okay, you started with say verification or design, then yes, you have mastered, and then you're finding new things to master where it is not just the design, it is the protocols now. Okay, why is this design required? What are the markets? So if you're not learning, then you're staying at the bottommost of that pyramid. I'm talking about the proper pyramid now. At the bottommost of the pyramid, who all are going to say? The ones that you have described exactly. They just do whatever is told, nothing more. They're equally important, by the way. I told you, industry invites all kinds of people. I have actually catered to the most ambitious people here. So if you say that, uh, uh, you know, uh, a realization of as you are learning more, you need to learn more. That's what is tending to infinity. We all, at some point. So we realize that what we know is nothing. It's just a dot, but that's what it is. And then that can be daunting, but that can be motivating too. Now you need to pick up a side. I'm not trying to, give you a pacifying answer here. I'm just trying to put it bluntly. You need to pick a side. So if the side is okay, it's very daunting. I just have to, be cool, be peaceful. That's okay. Nothing wrong. Okay. In economics, not doing anything is an option. Think about it. You have money, you can invest. You don't need to invest too. There's nothing like, if you have money, you need to just keep it in the bank. You need to keep it in, I just don't do anything. I spend it out. That's okay. So similarly here, okay, you need to learn the design, you have learned it, and then you know that it's not just the design. Now you need to learn about the microarchitectural components. You also have to learn about, the systems architecture, because your design is getting into that big system where it's just a small piece, but it's interacting with hosts, and then a platform, a memory management unit, and things of that kind. If it's daunting, and yes, it's fine. Leave it, but that should be motivating. And then the trigger point is the realization that you are only learning how to learn throughout your life. I can't really tell you more than this. So I believe I have not answered your question, but there is no answer to this. It's very individual. Nothing is right or wrong here, but you have hit the spot too. You have realized the more you know that you don't know many other things. That's true, and that's what it is, right? The more we are learning about this universe, suddenly after it we are talking of dark matter. Why? Because that's actually accelerating much faster than whatever it's expanding much faster than whatever we know as the universe, and that can lead to some kind of catastrophes. But that's a different depressing topic. I would like to, I mean, just for fun talk. Coming to your point, yes, you have hit the spot. Now, which side you pick up, it's your call. That can be daunting or motivating. Yeah, but make it more focused. All of a sudden you can pick up. Okay, I'm working on the design, but I would like to, get into fashion design. Yeah, that's that should be a call by your passion. Are you really passionate about that particular tangential field, which makes you leave this field completely? Okay, great. You have decided to start everything from scratch because you're passionate. Again, the basic word passion comes into play. Or here itself, you would like to connect the next level of design, which is the microarchitecture, the protocols, the systems. That's what you want to connect. So you need to visualize that inverted systems whenever you decide to grow. There is no other option. But at some point, you might stop. You might want to stop growing. Fine, it's okay. It's a good
Thank you,
question.
sir. Like,
No answer.
yes, sir, you answered pretty well, sir. Thank you, sir.
Hope so. Don't be
Thank you,
found.
sir.
Okay.
Yeah. So we have Radhika, Varanasi Radhika. So I request her to turn on her mic and ask the question.
Sure.
Sir, as you had said that few skill sets would require a proper certification,
Yeah.
I had a doubt. I would like to cite an example of Eagle PCB only.
Uh-huh.
In case I've learned that software for PCB design for schematics,
Uh-huh.
then is it necessary that I have a certification, or is it fine if my knowledge would be great, or would it be satisfying?
See, certification is always extra validity. Yeah. See, I'm a practicing manager, but I got an MBA too from a German university via executive education. Yeah, that has given me some depth and breadth. Never ignore, the academics. They give you the right tool set to form the framework. In that aspect, I respect the certification. Now, yeah, if you're just a practicing person, you got enough depth. Yes, you can code that too, and then build your career. That is also fine. But somebody is more willing to listen to you when you readily produce a certificate, as opposed to just saying that I'm good at that. Am I clear?
Yes, sir. Thank you.
So Janit will also want to ask you a question. So Janit, please go ahead.
Sir, I have one question in mind. Actually, this question might be a general doubt of everyone out here. As you clearly mentioned that we must ask ourselves what we want or what we are interested in. And to be precise, when it comes to electronics, it's more about hardware, and we need to make our hands dirty, as you
Yeah.
said. And
Yeah.
in the current scenario, as the colleges aren't reopening due to COVID, and we are having online classes, so it's
Yeah.
obvious that we are lacking practical exposure to the labs. And so, sir, what can be the solution or the alternative solutions to this problem, or how can we make ourselves compete in the world tomorrow in terms of practical knowledge?
That's a good question and very relevant. Okay, first thing first, we need to admit one thing. This pandemic has set us back by 1 year or so. That's the case with all of us. So we got to accept the fact.
Yes,
We
sir.
can't say that, now I need that time given back to me. That doesn't happen. Time is the only thing that we can't get. We need to admit the fact. Probably we're not grown in electronics, but we're grown personally. Are closer to our associates, parents, wife and kids. Sometimes it's irritating too because I was troubling my kids on their education a bit more than what I do otherwise. But yeah, you gain some, you lose some. You have to understand that we have lost some time. It's a case with everyone. There is supply chain problem. In fact, we could not deliver the number of chips that we wanted to. Now we need to bump up the supply chain. What could you have possibly done? Yes, still you could have strengthened your theory. Then the simulations, especially design and verification, can still be from making your hands dirty in terms of writing the code and then compiling it, designing it. But only thing is you would not get it downloaded to an FPGA board because that might be in the lab. So, of course, there is a facility to, in the remote connection, you can go dump your board, and then if there is at least one person in the lab, he can actually power on, power on. It means he has to pull that switch and then make it work for you. But yes, technically, you still could have done, loads of design activity that gets compiled, that gets synthesized. I believe you have access to all these FPGA tools, which are quite easy to access for students, as opposed to the ASIC tools, which are not available even in IITs, to be honest, because you pay tons of money. Only the industries can afford, not the academics. I mean, not the universities. So to answer your question, yes, we have last time, we need to admit. But the second part is still you could have done. If you say that you're not done anything in terms of strengthening your theory, trying out a few designs in terms of coding a PCIe controller or coding a Mac or some other interrupt controller or a processor itself, I would be surprised. Why do you not do that?
Thank you, sir. Thank you. Thank you so much.
We also have a question from Surikant Behra. He wants to know that how do semiconductor manufacturing companies keep up with the pace of innovation in electronics industry? By that he means the chips are advancing very fast, so manufacturing process may also becoming advanced. So how do they keep up with the pace considering the cost of the chip then?
Okay. Let me take you all a step back. Semiconductor manufacturing industry itself is, an industry of innovation. They continually innovate to shrink the geometry. Okay. Today we are talking of 5 nanometer. That's the latest chip we are working on. The one that we deliver to Google is in 7 nanometer. But then we started with 150 micron, 1 micron, and then 150 nanometers in between. Then 100 nanometers, then 70 nanometers. So all this is possible only because of the innovation from the manufacturing industry. So the innovations are happening tangentially in each and every field now. You don't ever think that something else is not keeping up with something. That's not happening. The manufacturing industry is really innovating to shrink the geometries, to pack a lot more. There is a lot more innovation in terms of the packaging density, then increase the yield. That's also key. I mean, out of the big circular wafer, if you're getting, say, 1,000 chips and then only 500 are working, but you improve the reliability in such a way that now 800 are working, only the 200 towards the edges are gone. That's a great stuff. So that's how they keep up with us. I really doubt whether I can say they keeping up the pace with us. Rather, we are going ahead. We are driven by the customer needs. Why do we need a 400 gig pipe? Why do we need an 800 gig Ethernet port? Why do I need terabits of switching in my chip? That's because of what we're doing right now. Look at us. We're sitting at our own places, and then voice and video conferencing, loads of data all around, and it's all happening in the real time. And how is it happening? Thanks to the underlying hardware we've been part of. And then the excellent software that takes advantage of the underlying hardware. Okay, so that's a key any point of time. So we are growing because of the growth from the users, and then we are innovating. So we are trying to keep up pace with the demands of the users. Similarly, the manufacturing industry is keeping up pace with the innovation, not really with us. They're keeping up pace with innovation. They're shrinking the geometry, and then they're working in some other ways by increasing the packaging density, and then going in 3D way. Sometimes area is always a constraint. Laptop occupies more space, but tab is fine. But the thickness is fine again. That's where you get more volume. That you can play with the volume at times. So taking that into context, I might have a different opinion that everybody is into that innovation process, driven by his or her own constraints. And then, yeah, we are keeping up pace with one another, but that is not constraining in any way. What is really a botheration right now is the supply chain. Because of the COVID, what has happened is At the lowest stratum, you need people who actually move around, move the wafers. Not entirely everything is automated. There must be logistics, right? I know the wafers that were manufactured in one place are to be transported to some other place. Now the transporter is affected with the COVID. The wafers are stuck. So the manufacturing process is stalled. So more cars that need all these chips are not getting manufactured because cars cannot take a single point of failure because it deals with the human life. You need to understand this. The medical equipment or the cars, they have to ensure that the system is intact every time. So now people have money, they would like to buy the cars, but they need to wait for more time. It's already a reality. Okay, why? Because the car manufacturers are not getting enough chips back from these fabrication labs. Why? They're not getting the wafers, possibly because of the people at the lowest rate, at the bottommost pyramid. They're also equally important. You see, they're affected with the COVID. They can't work from home. I can work from home. You can work from home. So they can't. They need to still transport the wafer all the way to the other place because possibly the wafers are in Taiwan, and then the chip is getting manufactured in China or in Malaysia or somewhere. The testing might happen in Vietnam. We just don't know. All this is stalled. So it's a supply chain issues. As far as innovation is concerned, I can tell you, the past 1.5 years we have done excellently well. All working from home. Hey, my battery is running low. Just 1 second. Are you able to see me? It should still work. That's okay. Yeah. So pretty much the innovation is fine. It's going fine. We're not delayed on any deliverables. People are happy working from home, and that's a new reality. So it's fine. Absolutely fine.
Okay, sir. We have a last question, I guess.
Yeah.
The electric e-vehicles company is booming in our country. So the
Okay.
question is, what does it need more the mechanical aspects or the electronics aspects as it have a hybrid nature? So he wants your views on it.
Could you repeat the question? I would like to understand this.
The e-vehicle companies is
Uh-huh.
booming in our country.
Uh-huh.
So what does it need more the mechanical aspects or the electronics aspects that it has a hybrid nature?
Okay, here I'm taking a hunch because I've not worked on the electric cars in a way, but I can tell you that that's where the mechatronics is coming into play. I don't know how many of you have heard. There is mechanical engineering that's getting combined with electronics. Loads of mechatronics, and in such EV vehicles, what's really key is your battery performance. You load up the battery, you should be able to travel 200 kilometers, 1,000 kilometers easily. Of course, you can't. In between, there must be stations, but that's a objective here. And yeah, so for EV vehicles, if you ask me to pick up one single most thing, I would like to pick up, the battery performance. Of course, yeah, human life is always critical. When you are driving, nothing should happen to you. That's the key. And keeping that element aside, because that's not arguable. We don't argue on human's life. That's what we are. Yeah, it's a battery performance that I pick up, and how effectively it's using the mechatronics. At this moment, I don't have any idea. Yeah, I've not worked on it. I've not even read about it, to be honest. Yeah, mine is still a petrol car. Sorry about it.
Thank you. We have another question.
Sure.
As the IT sector having highest demand, it is
Uh-huh.
easier to get almost every step and things and materials, say coding stuff and all. While talking about core say electronics, few people from a college choose it. So how to start and continue this journey till we achieve the actual taste of passion of working in a real electronic ground?
It's a journey, right? Why do you, how, you're asking me a tricky question. Okay, let me paraphrase the question. Are you asking me how to develop the passion here? Is it the question, the underlying question? I might need an answer here. What exactly is the question?
Can you please turn on your mic and ask your question? It will be more clear then.
Yeah. Meanwhile, I'll just pick this up and connect my power card.
I'm audible?
Yes, you are very clearly audible. Please go ahead.
Yes, sir.
Sir, basically, I am asking about that. In IT sector, basically, the things like coding stuffs and each and every materials we got easily from the internet and all. As IT sector is very much bombarding. But in case of electronics, how to get connected with means those stuffs so that we don't miss our passion. And can you suggest some communities or groups of people?
Yeah, there is EDA community. You need to interact with the cadence people, the mentor people. They have been keeping all kinds of materials on their website where you can learn about verification, validation, how to code for efficient designs. So all these are very industrially driven materials, and you might have already got a few courses such as ASIC design or Verilog for design or Verilog system Verilog for verification, UVM. If not, try to work with your faculty so that you have at least 3 to 4 industrially oriented courses. Not just you see, everything is important. I'm not actually denouncing those fundamental courses because they trigger your brain cells in the right way. At the same time, you can also ramp up on all these extra courses by talking to by browsing all these sites of metagraphics, cadence, synopsis. These are really important. I would suggest you to take the materials from them, from their websites. And they also work with you for free of cost. Why? Because the more you are better off with their tools, then the employees might think, okay, all these students are really good at metagraphics, then why am I using, say, synopsis? Then I might make a shift too. So that's how they really work at the ground level. So feel free, work with them. They're called EDA companies, electronic design automation, because they are the ones who develop the tools for the simulation, synthesis, place and route.
Thank you, sir.
Did I answer the question?
Yes, sir. Thank you, sir.
Yeah, thank you. Yeah.
Thank you, sir. So I and Janit, on behalf of the entire EI fraternity of NIT Silchar, first of all, extend my deepest sincere thanks to you for for your taking out time from your busy schedule and gracing our webinar, and also for sharing your learnings and experiences. And it was a very meaningful and very interesting session. I would also like to express my deep gratitude to our honorable HOD sir and everyone for being with us here today, and also the audience who have turned up in a very great number. Once again, I thank you all for your cordial cooperation